Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kirree. This week I popped along to St Mark's Fair to see all that was going on there.
And I went along to Ballig farm in Jurby to speak to Paul Fletcher about his replenished South Devon herd. Well, firstly, Kirree, just to say we're on location with Countryside this week. We're sitting in one of the fields, ready in a couple of weeks for the Southern Agricultural Show.
We certainly are. It's a lovely day as well. What a weekend we've had. The sunshine is just booming down. But yeah, all cattle and livestock are all off the fields ready for the show now. And the committee are now stepping out, marking out the pitches. It's all new to them, new to us. And yeah, I think it's all going quite smoothly so far.
Yeah, I can see some bits and pieces and some little tracks laid down here. Is it been a bit of a logistical nightmare to decide which way cars are going to come in, which way cars are going to go out? Obviously, this will come out before the time so people know.
Yeah, it's always been at the back of their minds, obviously, to keep traffic moving on the Isle of Man. If they're not coming to the show, then at least they're able to get about their business and go to work, etc. So yeah, Orrisdale is situated luckily with the triangle of roadway right round it, so they're able to come in from the north and south up the Orrisdale road to the farm and park behind the farmhouse, and then with the show on the Ballasella side, with the main ring in the centre of the three field setup, and livestock and dogs on either side of it, looking out over Port St Mary, and today it is absolutely a beautiful view.
Well, one of the reasons we're out here as well, obviously, you've been off island to one of the shows, which I suppose has it been a godsend there, or are they jealous of how lucky we are on the island still, even though we've got some cases?
They're very, very jealous. They see on Facebook of us partying here on the Isle of Man and how lucky we've been, and how well our government and communities have come together to get us through this really terrible situation, and how actually seeing it for ourselves, how bad it has been in the UK, just ourselves travelling over on the ferry and then using public transport to get to Harrogate at the Great Yorkshire Show, masks on the whole way there, sanitisers, social distancing, and it was being reinforced by all the conductors in the train stations. You know, they were on it, you know, yelling at people in some cases,
really?
Keep your masks on, you know, abide by the rules, and they're just wanting to see the end of it. We are so lucky here. We went out for tea, but tea isn't like how we have tea here. It's outside, at a distance, and your mask's on all the time apart from when you're eating. So we don't realise how lucky we are. The show itself was spread over 4 days instead of 3 to try and get numbers through to support these agricultural events that need events to happen to keep the revenue coming to support them throughout the year. It was lesser numbers, but the livestock on show, Simon, was an absolute credit to the British farmers. They're probably the best I've seen in a long time, and they were gearing and gunning for a good day out at the show, and they were very, very proud to be there.
Excellent stuff. You reiterate how lucky we are with the 2 shows that we've got coming ahead in the future, which we'll talk about more in coming weeks. But firstly, I went along to Ballig farm in Jurby to have a chat with Paul Fletcher, who has replenished some of his South Devon cattle.
Yes, we first went into the South Devons in 2005, and we brought in blood from Cornwall, from the Truint herd, and then we brought in 5 different female bloodlines along with a prize-winning bull, and that was how we started out. And we've kept the South Devons over the years since 2005, kept those 5 female lines going forwards. But eventually, with cattle breeding, you get to the point where, particularly on the male side, you've got to watch that they don't start to breed back too close to their offspring. So we'd been looking for a year or 2 at importing some new fresh bloodlines, and this spring we took the decision to go forwards with that.
What's the attraction with the South Devons? We're looking over the gate at them there, and they're all just lying down in the grass.
South Devons, along with the Sussex, they're the last native breed of cattle in Britain to be used for draft purposes, for pulling a plough or a cart on the farms, before horse ploughing.
Yeah.
Before horse ploughing, and obviously the mechanisation followed, but before horses, they're South Devons, and as such they have very docile temperament to them. Any animal can be wound up, Simon.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And any animal can be quietened to an extent, but they have an extra level of docility that comes from that innate, in the same way as a heavy horse works with man. The South Devons have got that same sort of relationship with man within them. They were also used. There's still one herd in the southwest near Exeter, has a dairy herd of South Devons, and they actually make ice cream with the milk. It's rich. It's like a Jersey or a Guernsey type milk, rich in high butterfat. And they actually call that, because the South Devons down there are called the orange elephants of the cattle world, and they actually brand that as orange elephant ice cream near Exeter.
Wow. Well, I suppose it's helpful because you won't run the equestrian part of it here, the chases, and I suppose it's an asset to have cattle and animals like this here.
Yes, I mean they're attractive in their own right. I mean, you've seen them at the shows with the sash on. They do catch the eye, but having a lot of public on the farm with the horses, it's important for some of the horses their own experience of a cow will be behind the hedge when they're hacking down the road, and often those cattle might follow the hedge line. So for those horses to be able to, albeit behind a fence, have an animal that is very restful and isn't challenged by their presence, gives them a reassurance as well.
Yeah.
But by having a very quiet breed of animal, we sit a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, but I suppose people worry at this time. Obviously, you're replenishing the stock, like you said, with the getting close to the interbreeding. But I mean, the rules of people travelling and stuff. Is it easier, or is it a worry for people, the public, that people import animals to the island? We
don't rush to import animals because the island agricultural industry prides itself in its high health status. That expensive piece of water does for farmers give us a border that helps. When it was tragic, we could actually see and smell the pyres burning when there was foot and mouth over in the Lake District years back, but it never quite got here, and that for which Manx farmers will always be grateful. So bringing animals into the island, there are a lot of rules and regulations. A lot of pre-movement testing has got to be done on the animals to ensure their high health status, and that we're not going to bring anything in. And then once they're here, they're then in isolation. The farm's in standstills.
Well, like the people in the COVID times.
Yeah, very similar basis. Mm. So our farm is now in standstill for 21 days. In terms of we couldn't take an animal to the show if it was tomorrow, for example. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we'll be released just in time to show some animals at the Southern. But these animals will not be going off the farm or interacting with any other stock until they've had a further TB test, and that won't be for another 60 days yet. So until that is until we've got all the clearance from all that testing, they will be kept separate to all our other stock as a separate import group. And just give them the time to get used to us. Last night we put them into this paddock for the first time. The farm they come from, I don't think he'd ever used electric fence wire with them.
No.
So we had to educate them last night. We got a mains fencing unit just coming from the building, but they've responded to it very, very quickly. I remember when I was down in Somerset. You'll like this story. Teaching in the School of Agriculture. The lads there on the farm. There was 200 lads, and they all ate, talked, and slept, and were taught agriculture. And before the calves were turned out in the fields in the spring, we would put an electric wire across the cattle shed, so they learnt what electric wire was. So they got a little shock for the public. It's a high voltage but very, very low current, so it doesn't do animals any harm, but it just gives them a jolt, and it just helps to manage the grazing of animals. And the lads said, "Oh, that's a B-band calf, sir." I said, "What do you mean it's a B-band calf, sir?" Because in the school there was an A-band, a B-band, and a C-band. He said, "Well, that one's been and had one shock, and now it's stepped back. I said, all right then, well, what's a C-band calf? Oh, the C-band, they go and they get a shock and they go back for another shock before they learn. And I said, and the A-band? Oh, they just stand there and watch.
Sorts out the clever ones. But it is, I mean, you mentioned the milk and stuff before, but there is an attraction and a docility, like you say. But, I mean, are they good for meat as well? I'm biased, and other beef farms will say otherwise, but the South Devon beef is one of the best kept secrets of the meat trade. It really is. It's the eating experience for meat eaters is second to none. It really is. It's very. It's got good intramuscular fat, but the other thing is, because they're a very docile breed, they don't get anxious in the last few hours of life. And so it gives you a very tender meat, which obviously is a more pleasurable experience. Yeah, well, it's good to see that they're not being given up on, and they're a nice variety site around the Isle of Man, particularly at shows and on the farms here, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we're breeding and selling crossbred heifers to other farmers on the island. They've got some South Devon blood in them. We're also breeding South Devon bulls. And there are a number of South Devon bulls that we've bred are out on different particularly on dairy farms around the island. The dairy farmers find them handy for using they'll perhaps use AI to artificially inseminate to elite bulls, but then they'll use a nice quiet South Devon bull to follow up as a sweeper bull that obviously goes through the parlour with the dairy cows and so on, because again it's just that nice quiet animal, but with supernatural muscling, great fleshy animal and nice to work with.
Paul Fletcher from Ballig farm there, talking about the South Devons, and they're so proud of them. They are the Fletcher family, and they are a beautiful looking animal. It's just wandering around there as if not a care in the world. You never feel threatened by them, and so great that he's got them there with the equestrian side of it, the chasers and everything else. They've got to be weary of horses and different public roundabout, and they seem the ideal beast for that.
They really are. The great British breeds have got that real lovely temperament, and the South Devons are no stranger of having people around, and lovely, like you say, a lovely temperament, but also a very good beef breed. I was chatting to somebody at the Great Yorkshire that actually was saying how good the marbling is within the South Devon meat, and it's on par with the Aberdeen Angus and again the British Shorthorn, of how good the native breeds are for eating quality. And I think he was trying to iterate from a meat point of view. He's a butcher himself, that they're the ones that they need to swing back to get that quality for people to buy in the butcher's shops. But Paul and Hilary and the family there, they'd be keen on the show side of things, so they'll be revving up ready for the shows themselves. And it's always great to see new genetics coming to the Isle of Man and actively getting away and sourcing them is so important to a pedigree herd like theirs.
You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kirree Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, not too far away from here is the village of St Mark's, Kirree, and you were there at the weekend.
I was indeed. A great village fair there at St Mark's with 30 years under its belt and people in abundance again. And I caught up with the Manx dances that were on display. Now, this is something I've grown up with ever since I was young, with Mrs. Cowell at Ballig School. And to come and see you all performing, it is just wonderful. How do you keep everybody involved?
Well, we practice every single Sunday at the Abbey Hall, Ballasalla, and everybody just seems to be really keen to keep the dancing going. And in fact, a lot of people have been going for a long, long time, including me. My knees won't take it much anymore.
Well, this rough field here is probably no help, is it? But there's been a variety of dances here, and some are traditional, proper Manx dances that I grew up with. Yeah. And is that basically the core of it?
It is, yes. We tend to do mostly the traditional dances to keep those going. But we have got a few dances that we've choreographed ourselves. In fact, we try to use all the traditional steps and figures and put them together in, if we're doing any performances, stage performances particularly. We'll choreograph it all. And we have had one or two dances that we have made up ourselves.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? It's just making an old tradition into with a modern twist, isn't it? And you've got lots of young people coming through as well.
Yes, I was going to say that. That's what the youngsters like to do. They like to put their own twist on it. They have their own costumes. We haven't got many of them today, but because they've got lots of other things on. But they have their own costume with shorter skirts and more modern. So it's lovely to see that coming through as well to keep the traditions going.
Absolutely. And just quickly before I let you go, Carol, I know you're busy. The two little children that were dancing there, they mustn't be much more than 8 years old. And what a great show they put on.
Oh, aren't they gorgeous? Now, we have got a set of young dancers, but unfortunately, they were all involved in various other things today. But you might see them around at other shows, and certainly they're going to be next week at Peel Cathedral on the 24th. Saturday the 24th, outside the cathedral. They'll be dancing there as part of Incrunyak.
Oh, wow. And that's something that everybody really enjoys on this island. And how does it feel for all of you to get back out on the road again after this last 18 months?
It has been fantastic. People were itching to get back, so it's lovely to have everybody back again.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Lovely. Thank you, Carol. Well, Laurie Mitchell, last time I seen you was down at the Ballig rally there a couple of months ago. St Mark's, what a beautiful day we've got here.
Couldn't ask for a better day. A little breeze, but no howling gale, no dark clouds around, just bright blue sky, and everyone's enjoying themselves.
And there's been a fantastic turnout of the vintage tractors.
Yeah, it's we've got a good variety of British-made tractors, because someone tried to say my field marshal was American, and I got adamant over that. That's English through and through, and the rest of the tractors here today are all English tractors.
And what are we standing here by now, Ori?
We're standing by my 1957 DM4 Nuffield, which was owned by Mr. Corrin up at Ballig above Colby. And I acquired it in 1999.
And it's still not missing a beat.
It's still not the engine. Some of it needs some TLC, definitely TLC, but the engine runs fine. And it was restored in 1999 by Johnny Corkish and Leslie Watterson.
Oh, blimey. And those boys are still tinkering away?
No, unfortunately not. Johnny's not, and we lost the workshop that we used to have down in Port St Mary. So those days have gone, unfortunately, but I was pleased to be part of it in those days.
Yeah, absolutely. And how long have you been involved with it, Ori?
Well, I suppose you go. My main interest is the field marshal, which has stood behind you. I remember that from my school days when my father had Silverdale Farm, and that come in with the thrashing tackle. Not that particular one, but then Dad sold the farm 61 before I left school, and I didn't know. I thought I was going into farming, but I ended up going into road surfacing in the UK on the blacktop, and I spent a good number of years over there. And one year I went to a traction engine rally, got the like of it. There was thrashing tackle there. I got the bug. And then when I was working outside of Great Yarmouth, the chance came up to buy that field marshal. And then when we came back to the island in 1994, I brought it back over to the island.
My word, and it is a magnificent beast, isn't it? It's a real thick, heavy-set tractor, isn't it?
They always complained when you see the leaflets in 1946-47, apologising for the late delay in making the tractors because they were short of steel. But the amount of steel that went into them, they didn't skim. It's only after about 2-3 years they decided to cut the mudguards in half because they suddenly realised they're using excess steel on that. And just any savings like that just added sort of things so they could build some more. But it was just very substantially built. You can see the difference, whereas a lot of that is also cast, whereas this is a lot of tin work, and the weather's got to that. So.
It really has. It just shows as time moves on, they come away from them good quality products to maybe be more, cost efficient, I'm not sure. Cheaper products, aren't they?
Yeah.
And what do you make of the modern day tractor?
I stay clear of them.
They're all electric nowadays.
Yeah, I know. I get lost on that. It's bad enough on this one with a battery start, and that one has a hand start. I am now and again. I'm having to ask for help on turning that over.
Oh, is there any wonder she is a fine machine? And what about the rest of the turnout today? The Massey Fergusons, the David Browns, lovely.
Yeah, and the grey Fergies, that's what my dad had to start with. And that was the core of Manx farming in just after the war, when the grey Fergies came on the market. Because I went through the vehicle registration books at the museum looking for field marshals, but when you go through it, there's sometimes four on a, because there were big pages and there's only 2 entries on each page, but then there might be 4 entries for Fergies. Turn a few more pages, there might be 6 entries or even 8 entries, and that showed how fast Manx farming was changing 47, 48 times.
My word, that's it.
They were just changing so fast.
And that would be the horses going out and the Fergies replacing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose then that's when food would start to be getting produced in abundance.
Yeah. Because I remember Dad saying about he was in the harvest when his first grey Fergie turned up, and the mechanic turned up. They had a pair of horses on the binder, cut the end of the pole, put a tractor hitch on and said, "There you are, off you go."
Never.
It just changed over like that.
Ah, what a day that would have been.
Yes,
Oh my word. I bet the horses were quite relieved though.
Probably. Although we did keep one for quite a while, but just for rolling. But then Dad said he got it too expensive. It spent too much time down the smithy getting new shoes put on.
See how the times changed, isn't it?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And now the big modern tractors and the huge mowers that they have at the minute, and the hay turners, they take 4 or 5 rows of hay into one or whatever it is, and the time is of the essence.
Yes,
no time for anything anymore.
No.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just pleased I was brought up through the time I was, and now I've got the time to relive my childhood again.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's real great memories.
Yeah.
Well, Rob Setchery, this is a fine machine we got here, and she's chuffing away.
Yeah, it's a Crosley P1085, made in 1929, and it was sold to TC Moore of Tinwell Mills to power the line shafts in the factory where they did the tweed and the blankets and things like that.
Well, I never. Well, that could tell a few stories.
Probably, yeah. That was then superseded by another one that powered the electric.
Oh, right.
So, and then this went off to, I believe, to South Brule, to the forestry board to power a sawmill up there.
Well, I never. That's some history, isn't it? All Manx history at that.
Yeah, this we like to keep the thing going.
Yeah.
So it's not far of 100-year-old now.
Goodness me, and it's just absolutely poetry in motion, isn't it? Absolutely wonderful. And you take her out just around the fairs and the shows now?
The fairs, and we're at Crosby tomorrow with the fair there. So a bit of promotion for them as well. 12:30 it starts at the playing fields.
Yeah, lovely. And you'll go around the agricultural shows in the summer too?
We'll be doing the southern one, but unfortunately I'm off the island when the Royal's on.
Yeah, so get down and have a look at her. And what's it you just have her stationary now just for people to have a look at, or does she actually do some work still for you?
No, it's just on the trailer for display. That's all we can do with it really. Unless I find something big to power the thing with.
And how would you find getting parts for her, or will she just keep going?
She'll keep going, and if need be, people make things for you. We've got some contacts for bits and pieces like that.
And do you keep many vintage machinery, or?
I've just got rid of a few engines. This has taken all my time really. On the last Royal show I did, I had 9 engines out.
Oh, wow, what a display!
7 water pumps, a corn mill and a chaff cutter.
And it's hard to believe all this now has all been replaced by modern technology.
Yeah, and the kids have no interest. All they want to do is play on the laptop or on the phone. So it's a dying breed really.
No. I think that's the way of many industries, many of them primary industries.
Yeah, it's one of those things in life. It's progress, but there's only us old buggers to keep the thing going.
But no, many people do appreciate it, Rob, so don't think you're going unnoticed here. But no, she's good, and keep her going for a good few years to come.
Well, I hope so. It doesn't belong to me. I'm the custodian of it, but nobody knows who actually owns it. So all I can do is pass it on to somebody else.
Lovely.
As I find it too big for me and too heavy. But we'll keep it going for a few years yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she's shining in all the glory here in St Mark's today.
Well, it's a lovely day for it. And it's a lovely day for going in the shade.
Absolutely. Cold beer. Thanks, Rob.
Okay.
Lovely. What a glorious day. How has it been as a chairperson?
Yeah, it's been good, Kirree. We just couldn't ask for a better day, could we? It's just lovely to be able to sit out in the sunshine and not even have a cold wind blowing up here.
And like you say, St Mark's is known to be a bit more chilly, as it is where we are in Orrisdale too. But a great turnout, Angela.
Yes, there has. The car parks are absolutely chocker, and the tea tent is. I think everyone is going in there to try and find some shelter, as we've got the sides open, so it's quite a refreshing area to be in. Yeah.
And great running races, the kids out in abundance again.
You don't see many country sports. I remember growing up and going to the braid sports and things like that, but you don't see many now, and just seeing the little ones, the under 6-year-olds doing the wheelbarrow race.
The sack race used to always get us. I don't think we'd ever get much more than a couple of yards.
Well, we've got that and the 3-legged race, so all good fun.
It is,
all
isn't
good
it?
fun. Yeah.
Now we're seeing the results are in for the tractors. The vintage tractors are absolutely gorgeous, aren't they?
Yes, a lot of work goes into preparation of these, doesn't it? And it's a Massey Ferguson 135 owned by Brian Plant, who's won this year's here.
And it is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Really gleaming there in the sunshine.
Remember my father working with one of them. Yeah,
it's
years
great
ago.
memories, isn't it? We caught up with Ori Mitchell there before, and he was just saying childhood memories and how we can relive them when the tractors all come out on days like today.
Yeah.
And how did we get on with the handwriting and the painting? They're always well supported.
Yes, absolutely. We have various schools who always support us, and we had over 250 entrants in.
Good, wow.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
They're all in display in the church. And this year we had a special competition, the capsule. We're going to bury a capsule on the green, and we had a competition for the year of the pandemic, and for people to either put in writing or in painting how they seen the year.
Yeah.
And the actual winner of that was Belinda Cool.
Oh, lovely.
With the painting.
And
Really
she is
lovely.
a fantastic artist,
Yeah,
isn't she?
she is.
She really
so
is.
That's really good. So at some point, together with the face mask and other things that we remember this last 18 months with, we'll get buried in the green sometime.
Yeah. But no, like you say, the community has come together through this year, and today is a true reflection of how wonderful community spirit is.
It is. I mean, 40 years ago, the St Mark's Fair was started, celebrating Charles and Diana's wedding. We've had 38 fairs with the Food and Mouth year. We didn't have one. Of course, we didn't have one last year. So this is the 38th fair. So we're all fairly practiced at running it, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the homecoming tent where they got the lace making and all the crafting, some of it's from yesteryear, but it's always still so fascinating.
It is. And the lady doing the lace making was showing us, and it's, I would just take so long and concentrating on doing it. And here's she doing it, and she says, she just does it watching the telly.
Yeah, absolutely. A dab hand at it. But the thing, like you said before, everyone's dashed to the tea tent. Them homemade cakes, Angela.
Yeah, I know. We've got a lot of good cooks around, and as shown in the competition of the confectionery side as well. Yeah.
Do we know who any of the prize winners are yet, or is that still to come?
I haven't looked at them all yet. No, don't know. Don't know.
Anyway, I better let you get going. You're a busy lady, and plenty of visitors to catch up with.
Yeah, thanks, Kirree.
Well, Graham, Christine, what a lovely day we got here at St Mark's. Ready for the sports, I believe.
Yes, so myself and Jason, we're going to be doing the sports today, so I'm sure that I'll give you a bit of a push later on to see if you're going to go into the races.
You're running, or you're just starting it?
No, organising it. This
is you're chickened out.
So we organise the sport, so later on there'll be a good tug of war, hopefully, and it's nice to see people out and about, and it's a glorious day.
It really, really is. And this has been going now for a good number of years, and you come every year.
Yes, and and it's been one of those things. It's been really good fun organising the sports here for years. You're sort of cajoling some of the young kids to come in, and it's always good fun, and trying to get the parents up to do the mum's race and the dad's race, and it's quite good when you get the competitive side in the tug of war. And sometimes I have to get in the middle of the rope just to try and even it up.
You've got to get them tugged away from that ice cream van at the moment.
I tell you, it's a good queue at the ice cream van, and we've got the fire services here. and a number of stalls here and vintage cars. I was just down there and they've got a Maxi, and I've not seen one of those for absolutely years.
Now you're showing your age.
I know. They're rare as hen's teeth, those cars. The brown one down there is rare as hen's teeth, and lovely cars there. But
We'll have to get a picture of that up on the website for the listeners as well. But like you say, they're absolutely gleaming, aren't they? They've got the tractors, the stationary engines. It's a really, really great fair, isn't it?
It is, and it's nice to see so many people here sort of from... they'll be all over the island are coming here. But I could do with a few more people coming for the sports. You know, I think they start to sort of get a lame leg just as this is half past 3. People start going a little bit lame and in the queue for the ice cream. So I'm sure you'll be able to help us with it.
I'm sure I would not be able to, but no, I used to enjoy sports once, but yeah, well, since I've done my knee, and that's the end of me. There we go, a lame excuse.
Yeah, it's mine. I would have, I would as well.
But no, it's a great day out for us, Graham. But like you say, people are staying on island at the moment. The pandemic has sort of shook up the whole of the place for the last 18 months. But it's lovely seeing the Manx people getting out and enjoying a Manx event.
It is, and I think one of the things that we've had is that since sort of February, March last year, when we've had the pandemic round, that the island population has sort of bounded together and they've sort of worked as a community. And when we had all of last summer and up to Christmas, where we were sort of able to go about our normal daily life, and it's very unfortunate when we had the 2 further lockdowns, and we're seeing an increase there. It was concerning the other day when we had 115 plus additional. Hopefully we can keep on top of that. But it's that fine line between sort of we've got to live with this now. Otherwise, businesses and you've got people on both sides saying, should we be locked down? Should we have people coming in? But I think today's sort of one of those days that you think what we need is the community spirit in here again.
Absolutely. That was Ori Mitchell and Rob Sepson from the Vintage Tractors and Stationary Machinery, Angela Southern, the chairperson of St Mark's Village Fair, Graham Crugene, and the Manx dancing with Carol Hayes.
Sounded like a wonderful event, and again, so lucky to have that. And it just, they always have that village feel, don't they?
It was really lovely. Had the princess and the attendants there, all glittering with their lovely outfits and dresses for the occasion. And it was lovely to see Howard Quayle opening and the different MHKs pottering around, supporting these village events along with the community. Masses of families enjoying ice cream, and I'm so hot, wasn't it, at the weekend, Simon? And Judy Murray, the winner of the handicraft section yet again with her lovely lace making. And it was great catching up with Judy off air, but saying that once lace was more valuable than gold.
Wow, incredible, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
There we are, that's it for this week's programme. Don't forget, a few events coming up. We've got the Southern District Agricultural Show, which is happening on the weekend of
the 31st of July and the 1st of August at Orrisdale and Ballasalla.
And then the Royal Show is on 2 weeks after that, isn't it?
It'll be the 13th and 14th of August, Friday the 13th, at Knockalo out there in Peel.
Yeah, and this coming weekend, of course, there's Craig Brinkley's got his open day up on the road to Jurby Church there, so go and support that to raise money for charity. If you've missed parts of the programme or want to hear the interviews in full, you can go to Manx Radio's website, powered by Millie Chaps of Ramsey, and you can listen to the podcast with the interviews in full. And if you've got anything for Countryside, let Kirree or myself know. But for this week, we'll see you at the same time next week from me, Simon Clark.
And me, Kirree Kermode.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.